Leo rising. How you doing, Leo? This is your reading for the Pisces Virgo nodal shift that happened on the 11th or 12th of January, depending on what part of the planet you're from. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body, both in the form of physical and vocal light language. It will happen throughout the reading, and it brings in healing, attunement, activation codes and really enhances the messages that come through. So this video is going to be a bit of a long one. You're obviously going to know that because you're going to see how long it is when it's uploaded, because this is a 1.5-year transit, and it's involving eclipses, and eclipses are a big deal. It's big vibrational energy. So I'm really going to be getting into the weeds for you, my lovely Leos. Bit of housekeeping first. So there, if you want a personal reading based on the Mars retrograde, and obviously it's done the retrograde part in your sign, it's now in the sign of Cancer. We're not coming out of this whole cycle until the 2nd of May, and Mars retrograde's the least out of everybody. So it's pretty significant. So if you want a personal reading based on that, looking into your own natal chart, they are 50% off at the moment. And you just have to email me directly if you want to take me up on that offer. Second bit of housekeeping, I have set up a new channel. It's called Quantum Vibe Tarot. I've linked it into this channel. So if you go on the homepage, you'll see it'll be the first thing, the little round circle that pops up. And that's where they're shorter videos. They're not astrology based. It's more channeling. I'm using lots of different decks. I'm going quite quickly. I'm doing it's more transmissions. It's more sort of timeless energy. I get to have more fun, be a bit more creative, a bit more free flow energy over there. And also I'm on camera. So if you want to go check that out, if you feel called to do so, that link is really readily available. I'm going to be doing a transmission to activate the most integrated and expansive energy of the Virgo South Node, and then a separate video for the Pisces North Node as well. Now there's a 3-part series that I've already done on this transit. That's tapping into the collective energy. And part 1 is where I break down North-South Node. What do they mean? Eclipses, why are they significant? And then in part 1, I tap into the energy of the Pisces North Node. Pulled collective tarot. We got these oracle cards that came through in that reading as well. And lots of big messages. So I've been getting a lot of downloads about this nodal shift, and I really talk about and expand on the Pisces energy. What does the North Node overall? What's the intention there? And really go into the weeds with it. So I'm not going to be doing that so much in this video. I'm going to be focusing on the houses that this is showing up for you. Part 2 is about the Virgo South Node. Again, talk about Virgo, go into the weeds of like what's going on here. And again, collective tarot and these oracle cards came through, which I'm keeping on deck because I always pull these oracle cards, these main lot, before I do any transit. But the oracle reading will come after I finish the all 12 sign series, but I like them on the desk so that energy can come through. Part 3 is the combination of the North and South Node in Virgo and Pisces. Also talk about some other astrological things that will give you some deeper meaning, and how to work with your own natal chart in there as well. Now, I read for the rising signs. So for those of you who don't have Leo in the 1st house, look to the house it does fall in. Look to the themes of that house, and you want to apply those themes to the messages that come through, along with all the other meaning you've got going on in the sign of Leo, because it will be as if that Leo energy, wherever it falls in your natal chart, has now energetically moved to the 1st house. So when I talk about the astrology for the rising sign, it will always still link in. You just got to add on your own natal chart meaning on top of it. So I'm going to be pulling a couple of cards, 4 cards in fact, for what's been upgraded, what's the activation that you've got from the previous nodal cycle in Aries and Libra. I'm also going to be pulling cards for Cancer and Capricorn, which I'll explain, and they're going to be like letting you know what's been initiated with all the work you've been doing with that previous eclipse cycle. And as I said, I'll then be pulling some cards for the Virgo South Node and then the Pisces North Node, as well as Gemini and Sagittarius, and I'll explain why I'm bringing that in. We're also going to be using 4 oracle decks right at the end of the reading. So as I said, I'm going to be focusing on the houses and the meanings of that and the interconnection of the themes of the houses that are involved with this transit, not necessarily focusing so much on the bigger picture with the Pisces Virgo energy, because that's all over in that 3-part series. If I started doing that in the all 12 sign series, these would be 2 hours, 2.5 hours long, and yeah, that's just not the vibe. Right, so let's get into it. So I'm going to be pulling 1 card for each of the cardinal signs, right? Aries, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer. So let's think about where that Aries North Node was. You know, the head of the dragon is the North Node. It's yang energy. It's what we're heading into new territory. There's a real amplification of that energy wherever the North Node is. It's you're striving, you're expanding, you're taking action, you're pushing into this new territory. And the North Node always amplifies that energy. So you had the North Node in Aries. Ooh, okay, Itala, didn't see that card. In Aries, and that is in your 9th house of your perspectives, right? It's called the house of the gods traditionally, right? Because it's about your morals, your ethics, your philosophies, your connection to book religion, science, nature, source, all of those things that are a matrix that are bigger than you, that you know you're a part of, and you're figuring out what do they mean, what does it mean to you, what's your take on it, and how you map yourself out in the cosmos. It's about higher learning, so it's like the advanced levels of what you've been learning, as well as teaching, because it's about sharing perspectives. We're never here to have the intention to change people's minds. That's up to them, but it's all about sharing perspectives, as well as going and living somewhere that's unfamiliar to you for a longish period of time in order to broaden your perspective. So you would have had a push in this direction, a push of you figuring out what do you think about everything, right? How do you elevate your understanding, how you put it into practice, how you then share that information. You may have been really quite determined to figure out what is your individual autonomous understanding of the world. Right, you may have found yourself just not necessarily seeking outside sources during this period, because the Aries, I am of it all, very independent, would have been striving to figure out, okay, well, what's instinctive to you? And really pushing into new territory around that. You may have found yourself sharing your perspectives, really working on your craft of elevating those perspectives and how you communicate them. For some of you, you may have found yourself in a different landscape and learning a great deal from that. And that doesn't just have to be on the physical plane, it can be on the multi-dimensional plane as well. And essentially those perspectives, you've been heading into new territory, that it's shaking off the old conditioning, that's allowing you to really get into a deeper understanding, a deeper connection to the truth of what your perspectives are. And you may have found yourself being in situations where you're not conforming to the collective ideas and finding a healthier way of communicating that with those who do. Right, so that's where the North Node was. Now the South Node was in the sign of Libra, right? And Libra for you is in your 3rd house. It's called the house of the goddess. And this is your day-to-day energy, right? And this is how you find meaning in the day-to-day. This is what we want to do with the 3rd house, is finding meaning in doing the washing up, right? How do we apply those big picture perspectives into our day-to-day, right? And that's, for me, the 3rd house is one of the most significant houses to activate bigger connections to bigger things and bigger ideas. By finding that resonance and that meaning in the small things, it ripples into the big things. So as I said, it's your day-to-day, it's the things you do on a day-to-day basis, the sort of the mundane things, right? Going to the shop, all that kind of stuff. It's your local community, it's your environmental frequency, you know, that inner balance, that equilibrium. And it's also the lens in which you communicate. It also represents short distance trips and learning new things. And the South Node here, South Node is the tail of the dragon, right? It's the purging of it all, the releasing, the letting go of certain structures. It's more of an inner yin esoteric experience rather than that yang energy, that outward manifestation energy over with the North Node. And with that purging and that letting go, right, the release of, you know, certain ideas and ways of communicating, you then are left with that which serves you, and then there's an element of condensing it, of concentrating it. The metaphor I've been, was it metaphor? Oh God, the metaphor I've been using to sort of represent this is it's more the South Node, what you're left with and what the purpose of it is to the essential oils, right? Rather than the eau de toilette, which is really diluted. Right. So there's a real sense of, with the clearing of the energy, you're then able to really concentrate what's left and bring depth and nuance, right? And really get into the weeds of it all with what's left. But you may have just found yourself being disconnected from all of the themes of the third, right? You may have found yourself not communicating so much, not feeling like you want to connect to your local community, right? All in order to sort of condense down internally what your communication really means to you and how you want to find meaning in the day-to-day, but perhaps because of that restriction, it gets you deeper into the truth of it all. Itoela dialama doshala madianima, doela dianimo tofia la dianima ot ushinima. Dialemo doela dishanama otoela. So we want to look to Capricorn now, because Capricorn was where the North Node, the activations, the eclipses that were going on in Aries, were being, the energy of that was being funneled and manifesting and building over in the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn for you is in your 6th house of work. Right, it's the adult in the room. Work, how you work, right? The lens of Capricorn, how you figure things out. It is about physical health, routines, co-workers, therefore collaboration, pets, and acts of service. So you're pushing into new territory in regards to your perspectives and how you understand how to share, like learn, teach those, not teach, but share those perspectives at a higher level, was all being funneled into the way that you work, right? Into this sense of putting those perspectives into practice in the way that you work and the way that you figure things out. You would have had a really strong focus of, as I say, just like putting it into action, putting it into work and figuring it out, you know, and like, oh, maybe this bit's not working, let's go in this direction. And also that element of the elevation of perspectives and not necessarily needing to dominate and be right with that 9th house, and letting go of conflict of that Aries energy may have found that you're just able to collaborate more with others and share those perspectives rather than get a bit frustrated if they're not exactly agreeing with you. You would have found a lot of learning going on, a lot of principles and elevation through your engagement in collaboration with co-workers, and also with pets. If you have pets, they would have been teaching you a lot. You would have also been applying your new perspectives, your elevated, expanded perspectives in the way that you perhaps look after your pets. But the key focus, right, in terms of, it's the adult in the room house. So often we can struggle with work, physical health and routines, right? We can slack around that, usually potentially because of, not necessarily having the best role models when you're growing up, and therefore you don't really know how to be the adult in the room for yourself. So you would have had this elevation of perspective, letting go of conditioning in the way that you perceive yourself and perceive the world, that would have allowed you to step more into being the grown person for yourself, the adult in the room, taking care of yourself, prioritizing the sixth house. Now, the sixth house is very significant in terms of establishing healthy relationships. If we don't understand how we work, we can't communicate that to other people, right? And help them understand, oh no, this is how we work, and then how to work together with others. So you would have really been enhancing your capacity to collaborate and have healthier working relationships. Now that can be with any relationship. That can be a lover relationship, a friend relationship, your relationship with your parental figures, because you're stepping more into your sovereignty when it comes to your perspective and how to apply that, rather than sacrificing that to other people's ideas or other people's desires. You would have got a bit more serious about it all. And yeah, just generally really being able to, with the downloads you were getting from the ninth, being able to apply it in the way that you work is quite a phenomenal transit, right? Being able to walk your talk and understand the processes and the mechanisms behind those perspectives as well. And really, as I say, that ability to work out how to share those perspectives, understand how they work, and then elevate your capacity of applying that when communicating with others. Now, before I go on, if you want a deeper understanding, I go into more detail about that Capricorn elevation. That showed up in the new moon in Capricorn, which was the last new moon that we had, right? Which was the final phase of that. And I go into more detail about that. That transit is still live. That's going to take you up to Cancer season with the Capricorn full moon. So if you're just sort of wanting a bit more information on that, go check out that transit series if you feel so inclined. Now, Cancer, right? This is where the South Node in Libra was building and manifesting. Now, Cancer is your 12th house, your hidden house, your house of mysteries, right? This can be a difficult house, right? This is the unconscious realms. And in those unconscious spaces can be trauma responses, limiting beliefs, and distorted love languages. And there's often the 12th house is linked into anxiety, depression, loss, grief, isolation, rather than the physical health over in the sign of Capricorn. But underneath all of that good stuff is the magic of your soul, right? Cancer energy is actually your power up, my lovely Leos. And it's the cosmic joke from the cosmic troll of the universe to put the magic of your soul underneath all of those layers of unconscious conditioning. And so that's why you see in a lot of practices, both book religion and sort of more free spiritual connection, that the inner work is the way through it, right? Of peeling back those layers that have blocked your heightened connection to the magic of your soul. So Libra South Node around communication and local community being restricted. You may have just been a bit more withdrawn and not going out, and your communication coming more inward. And you would have seen that magnify, right, and funnel through into mental health, right, into understanding, this inner communication that you're having is refining the way that what goes on in the 12th of like that anxiety, that depression, being able to understand it and let go of it, to work through it, working through grief in a big way, adding a level of maturity and sovereignty around that emotional body that may have been distorted by you know, the third house is linked into schools and siblings, like learning new things. And so wounds from childhood in those sorts of ways, you may have been working through them. Wounds around not being heard and not being able to communicate your truth. You would have been working through things as that. Wounds around not being connected to your local community, to soul family. Wounds around not finding meaning in the day-to-day. There would have been a heightened level of integration and dissolving of those wounds in your 12th house. And through that process of elevating and reconnecting to the magic of your soul, because of doing the hard work, right, of that internal dialogue and finding that inner balance, that strength, that inner equilibrium in your emotional body, in your intuition, right? A real deepening and a deeper resonance with that intuitive body showing up here. And because perhaps you sort of distanced yourself from outwardly communicating, from outwardly being in a community, all of that energy you've been funneling into your internal world. And rather than getting distracted or distorted or entangled, it gave you the space to do some big work over in the 12th. And through that process of bringing that magic of your soul into the way that you communicate and find meaning, right? That again, that letting go and the stripping back of what does meaning in your day-to-day look like, and really pulling things away. There's then bringing that magic in, and a slow rebuilding of how you find meaning in the little things and find that deeper resonance, you know, as I said, in the simple things that then have a huge knock-on effect of how you move through the world. Oh, did we get a flipper? Oh, we did. Dianima otoela, dianima otoela, dianima, doshanima, dianima. You got a bonus card. Itoela, dinima. Right, so all of these are interlinked, by the way. Right, so you can see a shift of activation of the way that you work through this refinement of anxiety, fear, worry in the 12th, bringing that magic into the way that you work, and the higher perspectives dissolving into your day-to-day, as in like they're integrating into your day-to-day, that are no longer confined to sort of old ideas of who you should be that you've released from the early years in terms of the school sibling vibe, right? Okay, so for the Aries energy, this was funny. I think this was at the bottom of the deck when I cut the deck or something just before doing this reading. So this is what's been integrated, right? And I'm here for this. This is the activation of the closing out of the cycle. We've got the Seven of Swords. Now, I love the Seven of Swords. It's the color of the sun. It's a very positive card. And what is this card about? Well, it's about no longer thinking through conflict, right? Because this figure is in fact holding the Five of Swords, which is the Five of Swords for me is the most difficult card in tarot. Right? This is about the domination and subjugation cycle, the bully, the victim cycle that we can all find ourselves in, right? That in the Five of Swords, the figure who's won has won the Three of Swords. So that this card really represents of doing things differently. This figure is stealing the Five of Swords away, right? In order to your bigger perspectives are no longer linked into conflict, no longer linked into, you know, whether you feel like the victim or can be a bit of a bully in the way that you're sharing your perspectives. This has liberated you of this, right? And it is about that acknowledgement of your capacity to now think differently and do things differently and allow your perspectives to come through by stepping out of that dense matrix of conflict, competition, domination. And they're left with the Two of Swords. Now, the Two of Swords is the moon in Libra. So that's really lovely that that's bringing in your capacity to now communicate your inner truth, right? So the Two of Swords is about acknowledging that you are no longer in the old homeland, right? You are in a new realm. And how do you want to express that? And knowing your inner truth, your inner expression is coming forwards, right, of that Libra energy, of your capacity to be in balance, be in peace, and communicate that at a higher level. And very appropriate about stealing away from conflict with Aries, because obviously one of the sort of less integrated energies of Aries is combative to the space, in combative to the point of being contrary, right? Or being hyper independent to the point of being contrary, where you're not going to listen to anybody else, right? I love that Libra energy coming in, of like that capacity to be able to engage with other perspectives without losing your own, without trying to bully or feeling like you're a victim if no one's agreeing with you, of simply having that inner balance show up, right? Speaking of Libra, what is the download? What is the activation that you have with it now moving out of that sign? We have the Five of Pentacles in reverse. Now, the Five of Pentacles in the upright, this is about scarcity mindset, feeling left out in the cold, not feeling supported, feeling disconnected, run down. It's a very sort of poverty mindset, scarcity mindset and energy. And I like this in the third house of your day-to-day, right? Because these figures are outside of a church. They don't feel connected to that sort of higher meaning. And church is just a representation of source. So in terms of what's transmuted in your third house, of how you find meaning in the day-to-day, your local community, right? The way that you communicate. This is taking you out of this sense of disconnection from all of those things, that sense of feeling isolated, feeling run down, feeling exhausted, not feeling that resonance with source in every little thing in the way that, or in your day to day, and feeling like you're not being heard, you're not allowed in to share and communicate, right? Clearing around big wounds that you may have had in your early years, particularly if you may have grown up not necessarily as affluent as the people around you or who you engaged with, or society in general, that can really imprint in us, as well as the wounds in school time. Obviously, a lot of children where there's a bully cycle there, right, of perhaps feeling very disconnected to that, of and that imprinting in you, that means as you grow you're then recreating that energy, right? So I really love that as the activation for that South Node, that it's allowed you the space to know that you are connected. But you're probably going to see an evolution of you connecting to people where you don't feel disconnected, or that there is not enough for you, or that there's not a resonance in your local community. There isn't a scarcity in the way that you communicate, and that ties in with leaving that fear mindset of the domination and subjugation over upper in Aries of your perspectives, and your ability to understand the abundant nature of your environment. Now, for the Capricorn energy, love this for the 6th house of work, right? Being the adult in the room, doing all those things that we can struggle with, co-creation, right? Being caring and open and wanting to do the work. This card for me is the step up to your incarnation card, right? The whistle while you work. Enjoy the ride, pull your socks up and just live it. Do the damn thing. Because this figure is in the process of refinement. They're enjoying that process. They're enjoying the work. They're enjoying doing the things every day that work and take you to a higher level of mastery. This is brilliant for the 6th house. I am here for this card of, you being the adult in the room for yourself, you committing to understanding how you work and how you work with other people, how you work with yourself and your body and look after yourself. This is powerful. Love that. Right. So Cancer energy. What we have here for the sign of Cancer, of what's being activated, is the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, and your bonus card was the Wheel of Fortune. So the 7 of Pentacles is, it is acknowledging that you've been doing the work. right? So rather than the Eight of Pentacles, which is seeing the refinement, it's enjoying the process, it's not thinking about the end result, it is in the moment, in the now. The Seven of Pentacles is about planting seeds and tending to them, right? And doing and really being very mindful and careful with those seeds. But there's also an element of frustration of, because if you try and grow vegetables, when they're tiny little seedlings coming out and they're so delicate, it's sometimes really hard to comprehend that that's going to turn into a pumpkin, you know, that will you even ever get there, right? This is like the loading bay, right? And you prepping everything, but not necessarily seeing the results come in. So there can be a restlessness, there can be a bit of a frustration going on, but it is also highlighting the dedication that you've done in this process, because it's now in reverse. It's saying you have evolved in terms of your unconscious spaces. You've evolved and been a caretaker, which is now taking you to a level of stability, of maturity, of knowing that the work that you've done has been worth it, that it's taking you to the next level of those unconscious spaces, whether it's how you work with your mental health, how you work with the magic of your soul. And it came with the Wheel of Fortune, which is letting you know if you've been through some difficult mental health issues over this transit, because that is part of it, right? That your inner world, your unconscious space, fate is changing. This is a Jupiter card. This is a yes card. This is a very generous, expansive, wisdom orientated, but this is the understanding that the wheel has turned. The wheel is going to in the up, right? That there are bigger things going on because of the work that you've done that are going to be activated. And this is definitely a higher connection to the magic of your soul, your capacity to work with that difficult energy, release it. You're now, got more of a Jupiterian energy in the sign of Cancer, where you're feeling better, you're feeling good. Now, Jupiter's going to be moving into Cancer this year, so that you're going to get a double boost of that. Now, at the bottom of the deck, sort of for the overall energy of it all that's being activated, is the Star. You knowing who you are, right? She is unclothed. She has rid herself of masks, right? She stripped herself bare and now understands the truth of herself, the galactic and the earth energy combined. And through this embodiment, she is always activating a level of healing for herself, for those around her, for the earth. There's a lot of wisdom with the Star. This is also Aquarius energy, so it might be bringing in the house of the other, which is the 7th house, one-on-one relationships, healthier relationships in that regard, whether it's work, friends, a long-term lover, as well as your relationship with Source that is more in alignment with your frequency rather than the conditioning. Well, Leo, let's put these cards away. As I cut the deck, we've got the Ace of Wands coming with Jupiter, and we've got the Emperor with the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. So that's tying in your perspectives and your capacity to act on that in a sovereign level. We've got the Page of Cups with this 5 of Pentacles, communicating more magically, communicating from a place of love, finding the joy, finding the love in all the little things around you. Justice with the 8 of Pentacles. So again, your capacity to apply the work on a day-to-day basis, to communicate the way that you work in a powerful way. And the World with the 7 of Swords. So you know thyself and the world will open up to you. This level upgrade of your perspectives is opening you up to the world in a higher level, right? And in the way that you share it with a level of competence and confidence. And the world is very much about stripping yourself bare, getting to the root of who you are, and not being in, and so it clears a lot of the energy field, so you're able to co-create with Source at a high level. I'm here for that, Leo. Right, okay, let's get in to the Virgo South Node. So this is happening in your 2nd house. This is the house of your resources, your skills and your tools of how you manifest and bring in regular income. as well as the things that you value and how you value yourself. Now, that part is the most important. If you do not value yourself truly, madly, deeply, unconditionally, then we can often prioritize and put value in things that just recreate the distortion of the lack of value. Even if that's hyper confidence, right? Because the hyper confidence usually comes from insecurities. Now, if you don't value yourself truly, madly, deeply, you can struggle to tap into your skills and your tools. And, that sense of being worthy of receiving a higher level of regular income. So the South Node's there. Now, as I said at the beginning, this got activated on the 11th or 12th of January. You may have seen things show up around that time that are part of the bigger picture. Oh, by the way, also in the description box are all the dates and the degrees of all of the eclipses and what kind of eclipse they are. There's also, I've listed what signs Jupiter's going to be in, because Jupiter rules Pisces and Sagittarius, and what signs Mercury is going to be in for the whole transit for the sign of Virgo and obviously Gemini. So the South Node in Virgo. Right, I'm a Leo rising, so I'm going to give an example that happened a couple of days before the nodes changed signs. A fellow Leo rising who hired me on a regular basis told me that unfortunately, because they had lost regular income, they were no longer going to be able to regularly have my services. And as she told me, I didn't, it's very understandable to be in a fear state around something like that, right? But I felt so serene with all of it. It was quite surprising, but I also knew about the astrology. I knew that a South Node, which is about releasing and letting go and purging, things falling away, that one part of that can be your regular income, part of it just diminishing a little bit. Now, that's not going to be for everybody, but I am just going to highlight that sense that I felt it was in divine alignment. I didn't feel fear in my body about what was going on. The next day, I then got asked to do some non-regular work, right? Immediately the next day. So that's the North Node up in Pisces. The South Node and the North Node are always interchanging with one another. So we got the South Node there. It was just so on the money for the astrology. The fact that another Leo rising who had lost income affected another Leo rising. That there is that possibility of the regular income just not necessarily being what it was before. Trust in the process with the South Node. That's what I've been saying for everybody, because it is more of a difficult journey, right? Because we can struggle with change, we can struggle with things falling away. So with that superfluous thing falling away, and I'm not saying superfluous to diminish, potentially losing regular income could have a serious impact, but it then created more space for me to then refine my skills, right? I'm going to get out of me. I'm going to give another example when I get to it, because they've been quite loud. That with the letting go of certain things, particularly how you value yourself, of certain paradigms that do you a disservice, you're then going to be left with some energy to really condense and refine and elevate the skills that you have, right? And there's going to be a huge focus on that over the next year and a half. This is a powerful transit for you to really get into the weeds and bring depth to the skills that you have, to your manifestation ability, to really focus on valuing yourself, showing up, right? And working through wounds of not feeling valued, because you're going to get more confidence around your skills and your tools. It's going to have a knock-on effect of then boosting your sense of value. Now, Dialamo doshalema diatiani moyala dianima itanima autofiela. Wherever the South Node is, we then start to feel a little more comfortable as well. It is an inner experience, so there's a withdrawal. So you may be spending a lot of internal time cultivating these skills and tools, right? You might not necessarily see the outward. No, that's too many. Outward manifestation ituela dianima dufala dianima of these results immediately, and sometimes that can be a bit frustrating. So you've just got to trust that through the disconnection you may find yourself not engaging in certain skills that you have and focusing on others. Just trust in that process, allow your intuition to guide you. Ituela diala maduela. Now I go into part 2 about the Virgo perfectionism in great deal. So genuinely I do, even though so I'm sort of plugging my own content, the things that came through in that 3-part series will just add a greater weight and meaning, and you'll have more understanding of what I'm talking about in terms of the houses. But as I said, otherwise all these videos are going to be 3 hours long. Ituela di scelemo duela di anima, o tuela di anima, dufala di accianima, o tuela. Also with that sort of esoteric energy of the South Node, it is going to mean you're going to be refining and bringing in greater meaning at a sort of more integrated, expansive, cosmic level, right, into the way that you perceive your own value, into how you work with your skills and tools. So you may just be finding that you're turning to older traditions that in past lifetimes you were connected to, that are going to come through with that South Node, support from the ancestors as well. So there may be some heritage skills and tools that are going to get activated during this cycle. Itala di shanimoyala, itufala di anima, otuela di anima, otuela di anima. You may be finding that you're redirecting your skills and your tools in a different way than you've been doing over the past cycle, right? Ituela di shanima. And as I said, trust in the process with the South Node. Trust that what's falling away, don't get into a fear state, is serving you in the long term, and that Source has got your back, which I'll get into with the Pisces side of it. The synchronicities have been quite wild when we're surrendering, right? Surrender and softening is one of the key principles of this vibe shift. Whoa, okay, the anima. Dianima. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh no, it's completely gone. Mercury rules Virgo. So what will help you have a more personal understanding of this transit is looking to where your Mercury in your natal chart is. The themes of the house that it's in are going to play a role in the unfolding here. So that will give you a deeper understanding. Ituela di shalama ot ishinima otuela. Dianima itanima otuela. I've already found myself in situations where, no, I'll bring that in with the Gemini side of it because it ties in with the Gemini. Ituela di shinima itana. Right. So that was the thing I was going to say, but we're here already. So these 3 piles, the first one is what's the intention of this transit for you, my loves? And obviously this is a 1.5-year transit. So this is the bigger picture of it all. Regulars, obviously I do lunation cycles. That's one of the main things that this channel's all about, because the more we're in alignment with the lunations, the more we're in alignment with the truth of the cycles of the planet. So for each of the eclipses, I'll obviously be doing readings and going more into detail about what each specific eclipse is about. Ituela dianima, 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 dianima. We have, this is the intention, we have the Page of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. Interesting enough, with Page of Wands, I just heard the postman's obviously been, and the things have fallen on the mat, right? Messages have turned up, right, with this Page of Wands. So with this frequency of your resources, your sense of value, a higher level of manifestation that will be unfolding. I love this Page of Wands because it's tying into your Leo energy, right? Of your capacity to embody in your being, right? In the way that you take action, the way that you move through the world, a new understanding of your own value, right? And being able to communicate that value through your skills and your tools. Pages are very useful. They've just got into the court. They want to talk to everybody, right? So they're not jaded, and they're really open to new experiences and new understandings and new messages, new opportunities as well, that are more in alignment with those perspectives over in Aries, as well as you, right? With this fire energy around how you bring in regular income. Ituela dishale moduela. Itala dishani moduela dianima dianima. So that sense of things falling away is clearing away a more authentic opportunities and experiences in your regular income, in how you manifest and how you value yourself, right? So we're letting go of a lot of old paradigms and bringing in a hugely fresh new energy. And with all that fire, right? You know, Sagittarius is also your creation energy. So there's a real sense of bringing that creative outlet into the way that you work, into your skills and tools. For some of you, it may be about, you know, maybe your communication is a key skill and tool that you have, would be very understandable, as Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, and Mercury is very much about communication. So there is a more joyful, passionate, courageous, instinctive understanding of how you apply your tools, right? This sort of more instinctive connection to your manifestation ability. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune, which these are both kind of like new opportunity cards as well. And you've already had the Wheel of Fortune come out already, so that's a lovely energy, because obviously the Wheel of Fortune is a big yes energy. And so this is, again, the sort of fresh energy of the page that is bringing in more positive opportunities that are changing your fate, right? That you're seeing in a more open, generous way of your skills and tools. Say you've been stuck in a really deep unconscious response from childhood around your sense of value, around what you're able to receive in terms of regular income and manifestation. These two cards are saying, no, that's no more. We're moving on. And we've got all the fixed signs here. And obviously, Leo, you're a fixed sign energy. So overall, whatever's going on here, and this is obviously going to show up in different ways, you're integrating and working in a more generous spirit. There's a lightness of being with that page. You're no longer holding on to old wounds, old dynamics when it comes to how you manifest, how you value yourself, how you look at your skills and tools. If there's an element of rigidity of like what you expect your skills and tools are, right? This page is like hard no to that rigidity. We're breaking into new territory. We're learning new things. We're elevating without the old paradigm, as well as a releasing of a wound around poverty, right? And value, and generally just new opportunities that are in alignment with your fate, Virgo. Leo even, sorry, Virgo, sorry. Ni tu fala di animo tuela, ina ma dushenima di anima, itini ma o tuela di anima. Now, the challenge, ishunimo duela di anima, dialemo duela diana. The challenge is the Two of Wands in reverse. So the Two of Wands in the upright is getting the lay of the land, right? Really exploring and letting things unfold and not rushing. It's about long-term manifestation, but it's not the go, 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 right? Of things happening quickly, of you going out on new adventures, new journeys, and the outward manifestation. So it's in reverse, which is highlighting the frustration, right? The challenge is that you're gonna want to rush things. There's this impatient energy, right, of not being able to slow down and realize if you do the work now, you cultivate now, it's going to serve you in the long term. So, right, for some of you, this may be like, I want that pay rise, right? I want that new skill. I want, and I'm gonna go and do it. And that's not how to work with this energy. This is where the conflict can turn up. This is where the challenge can turn up, of allowing the unfolding, softening. I think I've already said this, but softening and not pushing at something where there's resistance, right? This is about the release, the softening, and going with the flow of the unfolding. You know, we want to get into this Two of Wands, of getting the lay of the land, having the confidence that you are safe and secure in your castle. For so some of you, it may be because it's coming from a fear mindset, understandably. Oh, I need to get my resources in. I need to build on this. I need to do this. I need to gather. When that South Node, as I said, I've just lost some regular income. The old mindset of myself would have been in a fear state, would have been in that Five of Pentacles. Oh, that means it's all over. That means everything's going to go wrong. It's going to go bad, right? And I need to take a lot of action around that. This is saying no, right? This is the challenge is to step into the Two of Wands in the upright and let go of feeling impatient, let go of needing things to manifest immediately, get out of conflict with that, and allow that South Node to do its work. How to work with this energy, of that conflict energy. We've got the Three of Pentacles, and this is all about the mastery of self. Right, this figure didn't, you know, just did what they felt called to do. They weren't conforming to the outside world. They honored the journey and the mastery and the exploration of that process, rather than what the outside world in terms of productivity and safety and security expected them to do. And through that process, they then drew towards them other energies who have different skills and tools in order to build something beautiful and long lasting. Now, this could be about other people in your life, right? As well as parts of yourself being activated if you sort of go inward, understand what drives you, rather than the fear mindset, rather than the conforming or that sense of safety and security. We're doing a massive trustful at the moment with Source to show up, right? That by honoring the experience and what's true to you, rather than the expectations of what you should be in that second house, you then are potentially drawing towards you other skills and tools that are being activated by embodying this, right? Right, how to work with this energy. We've got the Devil and the Ten of Pentacles. So hi Capricorn, this is big boss energy. This is do the work. Figure out how it all works. You're going to get activations around skills and tools, and this is about you putting it into practice, right? With that sixth house energy being activated with the Devil card. Be aware of what your limits are, what your perceived limitations and restrictions and addictions and fear mindsets are, and work with them. Let them unfold through you. Understand that this is a clearing process of all of that. Keep in mind the long-term goals. Focus on those more root energies within you, rather than what may be going on at the moment that may feel like a catastrophe. Now, that's an exaggeration of energy, but, you know, I'm going to reference back to what happened to me. I lost work, right? That's scary. That can be really scary. You can think, oh, God damn, is this going to be the whole transit, right? Instead, we got this Ten of Pentacles is like, realize what's going on now is serving your long-term goals. This is about getting out of the fear mindset and getting into your legacy energy. Right. It's also about establishing healthy work practices with the downloads and the activations that you're getting over in the second house, and building with them and showing up every day to refine those skills. Now, with the Ten of Pentacles, this is all about working with the metaphysical and the mundane, right? You see the nuclear family, they're in kind of plain clothes. And then we've got the elder covered in esoteric symbols. And cities take forever to build, right? So that's why it's that sense of longevity, right? But it is about the working with both sides of the same coin that will facilitate your manifestation and your longer term legacy energy, when you're not hiding from the magic within you. Well, so that's the Virgo vibe. I'm here for it. I'm here for it, Leo. Diala modu shalama diana. Right now, oh, forgot to say, Lady Justice at the bottom of the deck, right? This sense of inner balance, inner equilibrium that's coming through. Be objective and empathetic about what's going on around you, right? Really allow yourself to be in big observer mode. This is obviously your Libra energy in the way that you communicate. So there's a refinement, an elevation, a balance, a new karmic soul contract coming in the way that you express yourself through your skills and your tools, and being able to put all that work of the refinement in the day-to-day, right? Love that. So I'm going to pull 2 cards on the Gemini energy. So whereas before, when I talked about the Libra South Node and the Cancer energy manifesting and building that, right, because they square each other, this is now moving over to Gemini, right? And Gemini for you is the house of good spirits. It's the house of hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances, and reaping the benefits from your 10th house. So this South Node is manifesting over in your 11th. So this refinement, this releasing of old paradigms of value and being able to receive and knowing your own, activating your own value, activating higher, deeper, concentrated understandings of your skills and your tools and how you manifest is all being funneling and building over in the 11th. Now, this is going to be a refinement around your hopes and dreams, right? There may be some certain hopes and dreams that fall away in order to reveal more of your soul frequency and how you're able to manifest with that, right? And really accentuate your capacity to understand your own value throughout this process, which is allowing you to hope and dream beyond the old paradigms, right? They're falling away. The limiting beliefs around the 11th are falling away with that South Node manifesting there. So what was I going to say? I often find the connection between the 2nd and the 11th, right? The 11th, hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances reaping the benefits from the 10th house. If we don't know our own value, or if we have a core wound around being able to receive, usually because we don't truly value ourselves, that can show up heavily in the 11th, right? Of hopes and dreams not manifesting because there's something fundamental in the frequency that's blocking that. Being received and welcomed in to Dialama, doshalama, dialima, dianima, to those bigger groups, to your soul family, finding your tribe, right? Being confident being yourself in groups, being received by groups, itoela dianima, being able to receive the benefits from your 10th house, which is your life purpose / career. Career doesn't have to be a life purpose, it can just facilitate it. So we're really doing a huge amount of work of you being able to receive, right? So this refinement of your skills can show up by you interacting with groups, whether that's online or in person. That's where the energy is being funneled. So if you've got an understanding of what skill you want to refine, you're probably already intuitively being guided to seek out a bigger group to interact with and work on your skills with. There are going to be scenarios, regardless of whether it's skills or not, if you're in groups, right, of really, there's going to be opportunities for you to see your own value when you're in those places, right? And really do the work if you're not being valued, that it doesn't bother you in the same way that it used to. Dianima, doshanima diana. Oh, you got a bonus card there. Reaping the benefits from your 10th house. Again, the releasing of that internal unconscious response around not being able to receive, and through the refinement of your skills, the letting go of some old paradigms of the way that you manifest. This is going to be activating your power of bringing in more benefits from your 10th house. You, even if it's not activating straight away, you having an understanding of the path that you've been on and the work that you've done and the benefits thereof, and being able to harness that energy into the way that you're manifesting your hopes and dreams. But remember, this is an inner yin esoteric experience, right? So even though it's involving groups, it's cultivating, right? It's going to be a period of cultivating rather than the outward manifestation immediately. So this is a real big building energy, right? Of knowing you've got to lay the foundations, knowing you've got to show up and do the work, that you'll then see the results. It may happen throughout the transit or after this year and a half transit. It's all going to depend. We often get stages that then advance us into the next level of the refinement. Groups seeing your skills and tools, right? Of that sense of awareness that may not have been around before. Now, for example, I recently went to a spiritualist church open circle. I'd been meaning to do so at the end of last year, but the energy didn't seem right. Now, I was there when the moon was in Virgo for the first time, right? And so this is me going out my local community. And in the spiritualist circle, it's more connecting to spirits, as in the dead, but I've never been to anything like that. I was told I should go to something like that, and it was a very powerful experience to be around a group of like-minded people who weren't looking at me when I was doing my channeling that I was a freak. It was more curiosity or interest because it's unusual. And it was very grounding, earth energy. And there are practices that I'm learning there already, just in one session, of enhancing that intuitive body, right? Really refining that skill. And I was doing that in a group and going out in the world. And it felt... that it just felt so aligned. So those are the kind of things that you might feel like you're ending up doing with this cycle. So the intention of the South Node in Virgo manifesting in the 11th house of hopes and dreams. We got this 5 of Pentacles again, Leo. I'm here for this because the level of our capacity to be aware of the abundant nature of the university is magnified right now with that North Node in Pisces. And obviously all these houses that I'm talking about, all these signs, they're all going to be interlinked throughout this transit. So again, this is you, all those themes I said, are feeling left out in the cold, not feeling isolated, feeling run down, feeling exhausted, not feeling supported, that scarcity mindset. The intention of the manifestation is not that, is the opposite of that, right? So again, that sense of, oh, my hopes and dreams have failed and they're always going to be so. I'm going to be stuck here forever. Saying, no, 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 no. You feeling separate, not connecting to your tribe, right? Not feeling supported by a collective, not feeling the abundance, not feeling the resonance and the meaning and the love showing up. And also in terms of reaping the benefits from your 10th house, right? And it may have been a bit of a scarcity, not seeing the manifestation of the work that you're doing. Is coming in reverse. I'm here for it, Leo. So that's the overall vibe that this Gemini energy is transmuting here, right? Of shifting you out of that 5 of Pentacles. So how to work with it? We have the 7 of Wands in reverse and that 8 of Pentacles again. Look at you with repeating cards. And the Wheel of Fortune. That's 3 repeating cards. That's been happening not so much. I think this has been the most of all the readings that I've done. But that kind of blending of the Aries Libra dynamic into this, which is not surprising. Venus and Mercury are both going to be retrograding in the sign of Aries, where we had the North Node, and back into Pisces. So there is a actual astrological link. Same with Neptune and Saturn. So it's really tying it all in. So we've got the 7 of Wands in reverse. Now the 7 of Wands for me in the upright, this figure is standing on a cliff. They have the higher ground, right? But do they look like they know it? Do they? Of all the faces in tarot, this one looks absolutely petrified, looks so unsteady. They don't know their own value. Hello, Virgo. Energy coming through with the Gemini frequency. And obviously this is fire, so that's your Leo embodiment, right? And so in reverse, this is the true note, and this is a very collective card, right, of us not knowing our own value, that we are loved unconditionally by source. It doesn't matter what we do and who we are utterly loved. So this whole energy is asking you to focus on the truth of your own value. right? That you're in a good position. It's also asking you to get out of a competition mindset, right? This figure doesn't have to fight these off. This figure can just go and do their own thing, right? They don't need to engage it. Again, it's that fear mindset, that competition mindset, that scarcity, that there isn't enough room for your hopes and dreams. There isn't enough room for you to have the benefits from your 10th house. There's not enough resources. You doing battle in a group of having to prove your value, and because it's all unsteady because you're not sure of your own value. It's calling you to get out of that space and truly know your own value and believe in it and show up with it, right? And it, work with it. It's not about going, oh, I'm the best in the world, and then behaving in a way that's kind of really ugly. I don't really want to go into any examples, and I know I just said that Source genuinely does love all of us. It doesn't matter what we do. And that is really powerful. That is really powerful. But then after we acknowledge that, who do you want to be after that? Because Source honors those decisions that we make, right? It's experiencing itself through lots of different possibilities. But with the 7 of Wands, it's like, get out of your head and allow the truth of your own value to ripple through you. You might want to do some fire magic with this. Obviously be safe because it's fire. And you got that page of wands as well. That even if you're like, oh, I don't believe this. Get delusional. Tell yourself every day, I am loved unconditionally by Source. I am perfect in my imperfections, right? That kind of energy. And if you find that you're not getting the space that you need in a group, don't take it personally. Step back into your authenticity. Show up how you want to show up, despite what the world is doing. Oh, that was a powerful one. Right? This is the sovereignty of self vibes. And yeah, getting out of your mindset that there are limits of what you can manifest in terms of your hopes and dreams, what you can receive from the benefits from your 10th house, what kind of groups, what kind of energies you're able to meet with. Hold on to the expansion energy. Let go of the conditioning. You might want to do mantras. I find every time I try and do different mantras, and I'll be saying it and I'll say it, and I'm just like, it's not quite fully embodying what I want to say. There's a limit on the construct that I've formed, and I always go back to the I am, which is not surprising given I've got Aries in the 9th house. But that I am energy encapsulates all mantras. So you might want to chant to yourself while you're brushing your teeth in the mirror, I am, or whatever, wherever it is, that it then brings your energy, it's more contained within yourself. Rather than externalizing. With that 11th house, we can have groupthink. And we can have that group conditioning that can distort the truth of the I am, right? So we're breaking out of that. Oh, that was not in the reverse. Then we got the 8 of Pentacles. Show up, do the work, enjoy the ride, find the joy in the process. Understand, and it's also kind of highlighting, as I said, like the refinement process that you're going through in Gemini that's facilitating that Virgo energy. We've got the Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck. And this is, I love this for this one, because this is the root energy of the intention, right? And this is you getting out of a fear mindset. The Queen of Cups can see into the future, right? And she is not worried. She's not freaking out of what she's learned. In fact, she's so serene in the present moment that her foot is turning into her environment. So this is about serenity. This is about your heightened intuition of not being worried about how things are unfolding, trusting in the process, being present in the now. And the more that we do that, the more we get out of this scarcity mindset, because we're not recreating the past and pushing it into the future. This is all about serenity, heightened intuition, and becoming more in alignment with your current moment. And I love that following on from the Cancer South Node manifestation from Libra. that energy moving over to Gemini, because this feels like that support of like you're in this state of calm, this state of maturity when it comes to your unconscious spaces, and you're able to take this further into the sign of Gemini. Okay, why did we stop? There we go. Okay, let's get some cards for Pisces. This is going to be a long video. That flew out. So North Node in Pisces, the head of the dragon, what you're hungry for, what you're striving for, heading into new territory. The North Node amplifies, right? It's more of the yang outward manifestation energy compared to that South Node inner experience. And it's in the sign of Pisces. And this is your 8th house of the outside world's resources, right? This is more one-off chunks of resources, chunks of money, as well as working with the resources of the outside, right? Not your own your resources. So this can be mortgages, loans, taxes, debt that you owe, debt that's owed to you, inheritance, both 3D and cosmic inheritance, as well as bonuses and commissions. And as I said earlier, that kind of non-regular income, right? And so that really ties into that thing that happened to me the day after I got a call out of the blue saying, I'd like to hire your services. Not a regular thing, but just one-off thing. It's also about your relationship dynamics, the exchange between you and anything other than yourself, be it resources, time, money, energy, ideas, intimacy, the give and take of it all, right? So this is the relationship dynamic energy and how it shows up. We can have codependency here, scarcity here, scarcity mindsets, right? Not getting the resources you need from the outside world, not getting the support from relationships in your life. Codependency, being dependent on others, distorting your frequency by giving it over to the outside world. As well as hyper independence and greed, right? More. I want all the things and I don't want anybody else to have them. I want to win. That kind of vibe. So those are the extremes that you can get in the 8th that are here to be rebalanced. It's also your relationship dynamic with Source and the resources from Source. Now, generally, the Pisces energy is getting us to believe in miracles. Trusting in the unfolding of this magical reality, letting go of fear, letting go of control over in Virgo, and activating that higher connection, expanding into new territory when it comes to the trust and the faith and the belief. Hi, Jupiter. Those are the themes of Jupiter. In the magical reality, in the non-rational possibilities, non-linear possibilities, right? The miracles of it all. And you've got that going on in the 8th. So there's a lot of a heightened connection. You're heading into new territory when it comes to your relationship dynamics, just in general, right? As well as your relationship with Source and the resources from Source, and a support, an amplification of the resources from the outside world, however that shows up. The 8th house is a very psychic house. Edgar Cayce, a very famous psychic who instigated the remote viewing protocol, had a stellium up in the 8th house. I need to check if he had his North Node there. I might do that now. So I'm going to pause. Oh, 111.1 as I say that. He does. Oh, that intuition came through. Nice. Oh, I'm glad of that one. He had the North Node, Mercury, Saturn, Venus, and the Sun. Now, Venus and Saturn are already in Pisces. The North Node's in Pisces. So there's something around that, like using, and he's a Leo rising as well. There's that capacity, because he was very good, one, on utilizing the resources from Source, right? As well as the resources of other people. From what I remember, I can't remember any details, but I do remember just a general energy of like, he was very comfortable accepting help, very comfortable of accepting resources from the outside world, and had a really good grasp on that. So there's that energy floating around, like of one, heightening your capacity to be in healthier communion and relationship dynamics, and being open to receive, right? And having an overflow of being able to give, having more energy in that regard that isn't diminishing your sense of self and your own inner abundance. Itoela dialama, dishanimoela dianima o toela, dushinima dianima o toela, dianima o tufala, inama doela dishanima. You know, really being able to understand that Source has got your back. You're not going to necessarily know how, but to trust in the release over in Virgo, because you will, and let go of that fear. As I said, we're not here to push. I know I've said that a couple of times. Even though the North Node is more yang in energy, it is still in a yin sign, which is earth and water. And yin is all about that observing, that softening, not forcing, not the outward push. It's not that yin doesn't do anything. It just comes at it from a sense of softness and surrender in. So if you're finding resistance to something, I want you just to soften your body, like literally just go through your body and soften it and take away that tense yang outward manifestation energy, soften the body, and then see what comes through. You may be directed to move somewhere else, right? We're not here to push where there is resistance, and to be okay with that and understand that, like the water, we can flow to where we need to go. So heading into new territory when it comes to relationship dynamics in your life, whether that's that you run away from them or you're codependent with them, where you feel like you give too much and never get it back, or you take a lot and you never really give it back, right? You're going to be working through all of that. Dialemo duela dianima o tofala di shanima dianima. Oh, I forgot to mention when I was doing the previous cycle, in terms of the Cancer energy, if you want more understanding of that, of what was going on there, because I pulled cards on it, as well as that Cancer full moon was the first lunation after the nodes changed signs, and essentially the chart where all the placements were was essentially the same, apart from the moon, which was in Gemini at the time of the node shift. So that frequency of that full moon in Cancer, which was gorgeous, is very much stamped into the unfolding of the nodal transit as well. So again, that takes you up to the new moon in Cancer. That's still a live transit just anyway. That might be useful to watch as well. For both the previous cycle with the Cancer energy and then the astrology being very closely linked into the nodal cycle. So let's read. Yes. So there's new space. You may be getting more bonuses and commissions that are supporting the lack of regular income in the same way, getting more support from the outside world, right? Getting more support from source, so heightened in your relationship, moving into new territory with that connection of co-collaboration. You just feeling more energy as well when you're out and about in the world with that North Node. Maybe having more focus on going out in the world as well. It's a very transformative house, right? Because it is about the exchange, the changes of dynamics, right? The cycles of life, death, and rebirth, right? And that can show up both literally and figuratively. So it is asking you to be open to the transformative nature of this transit, and really be at peace with it and be in a state of neutrality of those changes. Neutrality doesn't mean numbness, doesn't mean oh god, big energy coming off that card. Doesn't mean because numbness means you hide away from emotions, you hide away from certain relationship situations, you know. Neutrality, and this is what we've been working on for ages, and that came up in the Cancer full moon because we've had lots of grand water trines where all the water signs are being activated and working together in a harmonious way of creating more of a version of you're a multifaceted being. There's lots of different versions of you hanging out inside of you, cultivating an energy of neutrality, that observer energy that is neither good nor bad, it's neutral. That the more that you do that, the more, while also the more you're then capable of working with emotions, right, rather than hiding from them or being in fear of them, because there's fundamentally a part of you that is at peace with whatever situation, and then that allows you to process that emotional body, and then harness this emotional connection. So in terms of like the changes that are going on with eclipses, just be really open and soft to the changes and curious. Right, we've got one more card to come for the Pisces energy. You might just be feeling really held as well, and just really that deeper knowing within you, that faith and trust in source, right? And lol. Okay, cool. Right, so let's get into the tarot. What is the intention of this of this transit? So we have the Five of Wands in reverse, the Four of Swords, so it wants to be neither up nor down, so it wants to incorporate both the reverse and the upright position, and then the Six of Wands following that Five of Wands. So the Five of Wands in reverse, right, in the upright, yeah, you had that Five of Pentacles as well. I was just thinking about other fives. This is frustrating energy. There's a lot going on, but there's no momentum, right? This is procrastination. This is lots of conflicting energies, competition vibes. This is just low-key frustration, low-key conflict, that when you go out in the world, it's always a bit of a battle. In relationships, it's always a bit of a battle. You're having to fight for those resources. There's competition. There may be your interaction with source may have just felt a little bit frustrating, of not really elevated. In terms of like resources, like fighting over resources, fighting for a healthy relationship, just that sense of not having flow out in the world. It was ages ago I saw a meme for this card, and it was just a card, but underneath it said stupid tent. If anybody has put up an old school tent, I know a lot of tents these days, you just click and they pop up. Did not have that in my childhood. You'll kind of understand the energy of a stupid tent, right? Of the frustration of trying to get something raised up, trying to get the things that you need and have it all feeling solid and secure. It's in reverse. So again, the intention of this transit is to let go of the conflict of the eighth, right? Of the, perhaps certain relationships haven't evolved in the way that you like. You've been putting in the work, but they haven't quite manifested, or they've always been in conflict. This is pulling away that conflict, pulling away that frustration of things not manifesting, of that sense of feeling like you've got to be in competition with the world. We can just have that as an inherent mindset, which means then we're not open to receive whatever the miracles of source want to bring in. I just put my hand over my heart, both of my hands now over the heart space. Yeah, deep heart wound around that. Now my third eye's throbbing, which feels I'm drawn to the Queen of Cups in terms of acting from a place of serenity, that all will come towards you. That knowing of the third eye. Now we've got the Four of Swords, neither up nor down. In the upright, this is, so both of these energies I feel are valid because it's wanting to bring in both sides. That there is a process of this transit of you now knowing you're being held by something bigger than yourself, because this figure is inside the church. They are safe, they are secure, they're able to be in prayer, meditation, in stillness, in contemplation. They feel very held by all that is. The Three of Swords are here, but they are no longer in the heart. So that heart perspectives that have distorted the heart, right, have stopped your heart from expressing itself in its fullest form, they have come out. So now this is an integration process away from the Three of Swords and into the Sword of Truth, a new perspective, right? This is the expansion of relationship dynamics, of the grief that you may have never had the support and nourishment from the outside world that you may have held on to for so long. You're going to go through a process of letting that go because it's already come out, right? It's already not here in the same way that it was, but we have to do the integration work. So it's calling for an element of meditation, of prayer, of connecting to source, of getting downloads from source as well, right? Those big ideas, you know, think of that Edgar Cayce. Then you're going to be really open to receive because you know that this is going on, right? It's also wanting to be in reverse. And so this is where you take those ideas, right? You take those downloads, that sense of the wisdom that you've gained from that process. There is an element of being healed, of you're no longer in contemplation of the grief and the pain from before. You've done the integration work, and now you're taking your sword of truth. You're taking that download, that connection to source, the information that you're getting, the resources that you're getting, you're going out in the world. You're taking that sense of feeling held out in the world. Eye throbbing again. Six of Wands follows the Five of Wands. This is, you go, oh, I like this for many reasons, right? So this figure sitting on this horse, they instinctively, they knew they had to go and do a thing. They had to go on a journey, go on a bit of a quest. It was in their instincts. There was no questioning it. And that journey was not necessarily the easiest of things to do, but they've done it, right? They're feeling really good about that path that they have walked, right? They did what their soul needed them to do. And they're feeling very confident and very victorious. We've got the victory wreath there in that experience. This is also about recognition from the outside world, right? This figure is about to go and have a massive celebration, and they didn't prepare it. Others prepared it, right? There's a real sense of everyone in it together, and also this respect of the work that you've done being received by bigger groups, by the outside world. So this is reaping, excuse me, walking your path, walking your truth, going out in the world, exploring, experimenting, working with source in a new way that may have its challenges because we're going into new territory. My third eye still hasn't stopped throbbing. That the end result of that is feeling really, really good, feeling really, really confident of the journey that you've gone on with the outside world. And this can be of you working through relationship dynamics, right, which can be a difficult journey, right, and feeling very good about it. But this is also about receiving things from the outside world, from things external to you. So again, that sense of reciprocity, of honoring your path and honoring the journey that you've been on from the outside world, whether it's source or resources, whatever, or, you know, or from the 3D realm. There is a sense of being recognized. Can be in relationships, right? Of you know, putting in the work and receiving it back, right? Okay, the challenge for this transit is the Death card, right? Letting go of a lot of the themes that I've just talked about, right? The scarcity mindset, the greed mindset, the codependency, the pain over certain relationship dynamics of not getting the resources that you need, not having the kind of relationship dynamic with source, with other people that feel really nourishing. And Scorpio for you is your fourth house of your home, right? Your roots and your foundations, your ancestors, both blood and soul lineage, your parental figures, and as I said, your home and the roof over your head, right? That sense of literal foundations and home, as well as figurative foundations and that sense of safety. We hold a lot of trauma in the fourth. From the ancestors, from parental figures. We learn love languages. We take on the grievances of the past and transmute them in the now, right? That's one of our soul collective missions, right? The work that you do for yourself clears back timelines and activates higher timelines for the future, right? But as I said, those distorted love languages get imprinted, and then we take them out on the road. And they're so in our unconscious space that they feel really comfortable that it's hard to let go of them. It's hard to let go of such fixed ideas, even if they're deep within you, that make up probably so much of who you are. right? So actually the capacity to be able to let go of old paradigms, of distorted love languages out in the world, that it can be linked in sort of like the victim and the bully mentality of like, that's a safe space. I tuela di alama doela di anima do tu fa la di shanima. So this is like big radical, like you got to let some of these old things fall away. Tuela diala. Cut the deck to ask for advice of how to work with it. Nine of Cups, the exact opposite of what I was talking about in terms of like, this is your inner happiness and joy, your inner recalibration, the confidence you feel within the gratitude of your existence in your life, right? The confidence that you feel this is not those old distortions. This is not having a governance over you. And this follows the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is about walking away from those deep-rooted unconscious responses and making the big decision to go and get a higher perspective. This follows it. So this is saying, okay, let's be grateful for everything in your life. Absolutely everything. See the abundance. Acknowledge that there may be some resistance to change. You are a fixed rising sign, my lovely Leos. And fixed energy is very good at keeping going, but it's also very stubborn. And I say that as someone, most of my chart is fixed. Sometimes we want to hold on to our shadow. We're not able to transform and release for our highest good because we feel safe and secure. And this is all about, you kind of gotta shake things up, my lovely Leos. And step into that Nine of Cups. I'm so here for that vibe, actually. I'm going to put that back there. Because you're creating more space to engage in the newness of it all. So if you find yourself in situations with the outside world, whether it's relationships or bigger groups or whatever it is, or your mindset of like, oh, I'd really like this loan for my small business. I'd love some more commissions to come in. But then there's a part of you is like, oh, I've never had it before. I never get that. And it's always, no. This is about getting a bit delusional with the mindset, breaking that conditioning, right? And also if you find yourself behaving in similar ways in new situations, observe and do the process of letting go. Work through that energy. Understand it's just showing up to let you know what you need to let go of. Right, how to work with this energy. Queen of Pentacles and the Sun. Now the Sun was the card that fell on the floor, and I was just like, I put my finger on it, it was electricity running through it. Queen of Pentacles. It's kind of following on from what I've just said. Cultivate a frequency of abundance. Right? You see the bunny rabbit there, it represents multiples of things because rabbits produce lots and lots of babies in very quick succession. So this is the openness of the abundant nature around you. Right? That there are possibilities that you can't have rational sense over. That's the Virgo energy we're letting go of. You want to just focus on understanding that there are opportunities, there are experiences, there is resources, there is abundance out there, and really cultivate that mindset, right? Because queens are yin in nature. They observe, they strategize, they bring depth and nuance, they cultivate and bring nourishment to their element. And it's asking you to focus on the material world is abundant, is the abundance that you know in your heart, right? Those Three of Swords have come out. This is this trusting in the unfoldment. It may not show up straight away, it may do, but getting out of the fear of scarcity, whether it's relationship dynamics, resources, whatever it is, and cultivate a space for abundance to come in. And then we have the Sun, which is one of your cards, Leo, as you are ruled by the Sun. Focus on the joy, the lightness of being, the freedom, the vibrancy. We have the inner child who is free now and protected and able to play and seek out the light. So this is orientating your Sun energy, right? It's similar to this Nine of Cups, of this sense of your frequency being free to roam out in the world, right? Of so often we can get jaded by experiences, and that we withdraw our love, we withdraw our light. And this is saying, get out of that space, push yourself back into the truth of how you show up with the outside world, not based. Remember that Page of Wands? I feel like that's so significant in terms of not being jaded anymore and allowing new possibilities to come through, because you're letting go. That observer energy of the Virgo is we're letting go of that hyper powerful observational energy that expects the same thing to happen based on what they've observed in the past. Find the joy in things, even if like you're like in a situation that you'd previously find restrictive or limiting. Try and find the silver lining, because that is just going to cultivate this, right? Right, let's get 2 cards for the Sagittarius energy. Speaking of inner, whoa, okay. Oh, hey. Speaking of the inner child, so Sagittarius for you is over in your 5th house. Now, this is the house of joy. It's your creation energy. Everything I'm going to say stems from this, right? It's amusement, games, play, pleasure, children, both literal children and... That's 2, we only want 1. Even though it was a very Sag... 2 Sag cards came out. I'll see if I'll remember them or if they come out again. Literal children, maybe children you work with, your own children, figurative children such as the inner child, and creative things you birth into the world that can feel like your children. It's also about romance, dating and love. So what's going on in Pisces? The eclipses that activate energy is funneling into your 5th house of joy. You may have just found, since the nodes have changed signs, just a resonance and unfolding in your frequency around joy, around pleasure, around your creation energy. Okay, they didn't want that one. So there may have been a focal point on this of like you exploring what all of that would feel like if you were met with the abundant nature of the universe and the abundant nature of source in everyone you meet. So we're funneling this expansion in terms of relationships dynamics, this expansion in terms of your connection to source, the resources and your interaction with them, with the outside world, showing up in the 5th house of, you know, perhaps giving you more space to be creative, right? With your intuition, with the downloads that you're getting, an elevation of your, you know, that inner child, the freedom of it, right? The elevation of the inner child and the wounds of the inner child, right? That we learn from our love languages, from our parental figures, which can lead to addiction in the 5th because of all that amusement, right? The go, more, but in a way that's unhealthy rather than serving our soul. So focusing on inner child work and in that new YouTube channel that I've done, the first transmission that I did was healing the wounds of the inner child, and the second one was activating the higher avatar of love. So you might want to go watch them, totally up to you. That, you know, wounds that inner child love languages that then distort our romantic relationships, right? And our capacity to connect to pleasure in all forms rather than funneled in a certain direction. You're heading into new territory in regards to relationship dynamics, and you're really going to start to see it show up in your relationship with your creativity, with your pleasure, with your joy, with you know, it can involve romance and love. But overall, it's really going to be enhancing your connection with source, right? We did get Neptune, even though they we got the Hanged Man, even though they put it back. Your connection to source through your creation energy, it feels like they're going to be, it almost feels like a Kundalini awakening over this cycle, that you're adding in that deeper meaning, that deeper resonance from source, and that heightened awareness of your connection and co-creation with source that's funneling through your creative energy. I'm just thinking of the Virgo risings who've gone through this cycle. Like there's been a hyper focus and capacity to let go of old wounds and restrictions from the 8th that just freed up so much energy and just cleared away the distorted conflict in your creation energy. It's your sacral chakra. You might want to do some work on the sacral chakra. At some point I am going to be doing chakra activations as well over on the other channel. Yeah, more opportunities to, you know, perhaps some people are coming into your life, or already have done, who are letting you know about the new relationship dynamics, right? And with that heart opening that I felt with the Pisces energy, of where you're safe to show your love, where you're safe to show up in that way, and you're not being distorted if you don't get it back. That's really healthy when you do have those experiences. Trust in that that's actually a tool from source to let you know that you're no longer being triggered in the same way, and that's then going to be bringing through, because you're not in conflict with what's going on. It's going to bring through that sort of elevated connection to love, right? Itoela dialema doela di shanima. Itufa la dinima dianima. Do shinima dianima. And yeah, really allowing the freedom of your creation energy that isn't dependent on the outside world, however that looks, right? Whether you're doing like a piece of art, and before, if no one else liked it, you'd get really, really upset about it. Now you don't care, right? Not in a negative way, just in a way that you're doing it for your sake. Ituela, diane moela dianima, utufala dianima, shanima. So there's a real focus on joy, on pleasure. And again, it's tying into this energy of that's how to activate this frequency. That's how to really work with it, is find the joy, right? Find the clearing the entanglement. Ituela dianima autumn. Okay, dianima. Dianima. Oh, thank you. So I just cut the deck and I got the card that was at the bottom of the deck for the Pisces energy, and generally opened it and got that card. And so you've got Libra over in this side where the South Node is now showing up, and Aries, whoa, Leo, over in here in the North Node. So this is you in your power. This is you in your sovereign nature, the King of Kings, right? Your understanding, your wisdom. This figure is not, this figure listens to the outside world, obviously, but isn't distorted by it, isn't conned or convinced outside of its truth. It doesn't mean it can't change its mind, but it's, in terms of your interaction with the outside world, very confident dynamic, right? Of you're willing to show up and engage and not lose your power, not lose your sovereignty when you do so. You're very protected with all this armor and the Ankh. This is the divine life force coming through. They just put it at the third eye. But there really is a focus on letting go of your expectations of how things show up. So we have, for the Sagittarius energy, what is the overall intention and vibe that it's bringing in? This was the card I went whoa at because it flew out. We got the Magician. Hi, Mercury. This is about your as within, so without. So this is about the inner recalibration that's going on, that it's allowing you to then manifest from your true creative energy, right? And take it out in the world. This is beautiful. This is really you in your power, right? And you enjoying playing with all the resources around you, because the Magician understands that everything around it is a resource in order to create and manifest. This is the working with all of the elements. This is this really enjoying the play of the creation energy that you're building and cultivating, and enjoying the process of experimenting without losing your magic, without losing your power. Again, very sort of sovereign energy, the Magician. So this is your soul and source co-creating and manifesting your soul's desires, right? Your soul's pleasures, right? All of those themes. And you really, I said Kundalini energy, of you working with your creation energy at a next level. Right, so shuffled and got the 8 of Wands, Knight of Wands. Felt called to put them back. they're the Sagittarius energy showing up of this is about you getting right with your instincts and understanding that you're going through an alignment process where you will notice your instincts, which is fire, and the actions that you take when you don't try and control what's going on. Follow those natural instincts and play with them, like the Knight of Wands, embody them, right? Take action with them. And that's going to help you get into this space. And if something isn't working, you know that then that's not working, and you know how then to redirect yourself. So often when we get things that aren't necessarily, yes, big win, they are letting us know the refinement process of the work that we're doing. Also got Neptune, where we've got the Hangman, which is Neptune, which is in Pisces at the moment, which is that you're in this cycle, you are bringing through a higher perspective around all of those themes, right? So letting go of the old relationship dynamics that have distorted how you show up with your vibrancy. Give yourself pause, give yourself those moments to allow those instincts to come through, to allow that perspective, the downloads from source to integrate, and then dissolve the old programmings and patterns. They're just holding the final card at the back of my neck, and that's obviously the throat chakra. But for me, that's like the past and also ancestral and soul, past soul lives. Just had a big energy release. And the card is the Three of Swords, right? So remember, we've got the Four of Swords there. It's come in the reverse. And again, it's very similar energy. It wants you to focus on the reversal of the grief, of the pain, of your heart being restricted by what someone may have said to you, your understanding of how life can be, right? The restriction of joy, restriction of pleasure, restriction of love, right? The blocks that you may have faced, the spells that may be on you, right? The conditioning of how things are even possible. It's in reverse, and they really want you to focus on that. That it's not in the upright anymore, but we're having to adjust to a new paradigm, and sometimes we can really struggle to let go. Bottom of the deck, Seven of Cups, right? This is the fantasy, new possibilities, new dreamscapes that are beyond the rational, beyond the old relationships, right? Beyond your old creativity, your connection to love and all of those things. You're entering into a new frequency that is supported by source, that may seem a bit delusional, right? But it's wanting you to allow that possibility to come through, to be open to new possibilities, having lots of choice to play around. This is also my channeling card, right? So that connection from the 8th of the resources from source, that channeling coming through your joy, coming through your creativity. That is really going to allow you to get into your sovereignty in terms of not being fazed by change, not being heartbroken. You know, and I'm saying like this openness to possibilities. Do so without expectations and assumptions. And I really feel like there's a wisdom coming in of you understanding whatever's happening is teaching you something very profound, right? That is in fact always fueling your creative energy. So when we dream big, we can then fall into the Three of Swords when it doesn't manifest. So with this opening up to possibility, openness up to the dreamscape, beyond old limitations, I really want you to always hold the frequency of that neutrality, right? Which encompasses the not having the expectations or the assumptions of how it will turn out. Because it can pull us back into the old situations because we don't always understand the timeline, right? The amount of times when I've been like, God damn. And then that's acted as a jigsaw piece for something even more profound and more beautiful and magical further down the line. So I just want you to bear that in mind. You know, but it really is a heightened connection to possibilities that serve your emotional body, that bring you joy and pleasure. Right, we're now going to get a card from 4 different oracle decks. First up is from the 4 Agreements Oracle, which is based on a book written by someone with a Virgo sun. It's one of the few books I recommend to anybody. It's very short, very cheap to buy. There's lots secondhand everywhere. And if you follow these 4 agreements, some of them it's challenging, but if you do so, you really get an alignment with self, clear away the clutter, and it is genuinely very profound. This deck was given to me by a Gemini rising. It's a very mercurial deck, so we're going to get some wisdom come through from Mercury of how to support our journey with this nodal shift. By the way, forgot to mention, with the Pisces Sagittarius energy, look to where your Jupiter is in your natal chart, because Jupiter rules these 2 signs. And so wherever Jupiter is gonna, the themes of that house are gonna apply to this side of the table. Always do your best. Do your best because you want to. Oh, I like this for that Virgo energy, right? Of not showing up out of scarcity, right? Of because you want to. You wanna refine those skills because it's fun. You know, that kind of vibe. Do your best when you are enjoying the action or doing it in a way that will not have negative. You do your best when you are enjoying the action or doing it in a way that will not have negative repercussions for you. You do your best because you want to do it, not because you have to do it, not because you are trying to please the judge, and not because you are trying to please other people. That's really lovely. That really sort of encapsulates both that Virgo energy very strongly, and also how you're showing up in that 11th house, right? That you're showing up for yourself, not because of what the collective thinks, right? It's really bringing a lot of agency into that South Node transit. And it's tying in with all of this of like finding the joy in it, right? Because you want to, because you're feeling good about it, right? Because there's this momentum within you rather than the fear of change. Ooh, love this card. Okay, so next up we have, and this is tapping into the Jupiter energy. Where are you? We have, and sadly this card struggles to show up on camera, we have the cosmic womb, the divine feminine. Creativity, the divine feminine. The cosmic womb is a reminder that you're undergoing a beautiful process of birthing a new self into being. You don't know who or what it is yet, but you know it's full of life and love and passion and spirit. It's the perfect expression of you, imbued with love incarnate and ignited by the vital spark received from the divine. This is so that Pisces Sagittarius energy combined. I'm here for it. If you have a difficult time in recent memory, feeling dry and stagnant or lost and unsupported, this is changing right now. You will feel newly inspired as so many ideas beckon for your attention. Know that you're safe to explore the expression of your rejuvenated creativity, releasing all judgment as your curiosity is piqued. You're in the most fertile cycle of your life right now, intuitively keen with heart wide open, mindful that each step in the direction of your dreams and desires is effortlessly supported by all the divine helpers in the unseen realms. I need to say nothing more about that card. We got all the buzzwords in there, didn't we? Support from source, activating a higher level of creativity and passion, trusting that all is unfolding. Leo, that was on the money. Right, now I am pulling a card for the Virgo energy. Now, this doesn't just have to be about the Virgo house, right, in your 2nd house. This is just how Virgo is showing up and what support it's bringing, what path we're on with it. And as I said, this is intermingling with all the other, they're all connected, right? Even though I've done 2, these are all connected. Because they're all opposite each other, right? So oppositions, we want to bring them into balance. We want to work with them together and not have them in isolation. We have winter solstice, reflection. This midpoint of winter is not only the shortest day of the year, but also the longest night. The world is very still and the land dormant. Various festivals of light are celebrated and have been for thousands of years, serving as a reminder that the light will indeed return. Throughout many cultures, there are tales describing this time as the birth of the archetypal Sun King, including the Christian story of Jesus' birth, representing the hope of renewal from the darkest period in the solar cycle. This image portrays a simple yet powerful representation of the winter solstice. We see a clear reflection in the snowy woods, on the still frozen waters of the lake. The blue tint drapes the scene with an ever greater sense of quiet and solace, inviting us to walk very softly lest we disturb the intense yet gentle grace of this scene. The reflection of the trees on the frozen lake reminds us that this is a time for us to go inside, to both our physical shelter as well as our internal world, and there contemplate the season that has passed, the season that is, and the seasons yet to come. Review the past year and ask yourself what the most important lessons you have had to learn are. What have you had to what you have accomplished, and what dreams and visions you want to manifest in the upcoming year. Whether it has been a relatively smooth ride or a challenging series of events, acknowledge your experience as being the work of Source, no matter what your judgments, fears, or joys are. Honor whatever has happened over the previous several months with gratitude and forgiveness, then let it go. Allow yourself some solitude so you can spend some quiet, slow time in reflection. Once you feel complete, reflect on your present life, especially focusing on what you are grateful for. When you are finished, consider what is to come, all the different possibilities and potential that exist before you. Allow your imagination to roam without limitation or ambition and see what shows up. Notice how you feel in your body and whatever scenario plays out in your mind. These are previews of that which is gestating and can manifest and grow when cared for properly. Patience and stillness is called for here. For just as the earth cycles have their own pace, so does this cycle. I mean, that really does encapsulate the South Node energy and giving a lot of sort of wisdom of reflecting on what has been, and really doing some deep inner work of what you want to take with you, and then doing some inner introspection and seeing what comes through from your soul in regard to what you want to cultivate now that will be part of the longer term manifestation cycle. And I love it was bringing in all of this of like gratitude and letting go and all of that, and so very powerful support energy of taking that on board and really going, okay, no, the universe really is asking me to go within, right, and pull back those layers. Next up, we've got a card representing the Pisces energy. It's the Keepers of the Light deck. Itoela di Shalamodoela di Anima. Otofina. Di Shanima di Anima. Otoye. Oh, we got two. We've got Hilarion. Divine healing, honor your sensitivity, retreat to recharge and heal. Your light can support others. And Melchizedek, higher learning. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress. As this is a very long video already, I think we'll just do the whole thing. Hilarion is a spiritual master who lived in the Middle East during the 4th century. At the age of 15, he felt called to go to the retreat of St. Anthony in the Egyptian desert. This was busy with people needing healing, so after a while he went back home with some monks. During that time, his parents passed away, and it's said that Hilarion was so devoted to service he gave all of their estate to his brothers and the poor. For the rest of his life, he lived as a hermit in a cave and was said to perform miracles with his prayer and touch. To this day, he is dedicated to healing, but he also helps spiritual people who feel overly sensitive to overcome their challenges and integrate with the normal world. Very appropriate with the 8th house of your interaction with the outside world. And that 8th house, we can get bombarded by the what's going on in the collective. And through that process of being, it's not about denying the sensitivity, but what kind of diminishing effect it has on us, that then allows us to, through our embodiment, right, do deep healing for the collective as well. The world can seem overwhelming to you, and it's okay to retreat to a safe space every now and then to cleanse and recharge your energy. You may feel called to serve others or share your healing with them, but please ensure you are filled up with light, love, and energy first, so that you are not sacrificing your own development for others. That's very important with Pisces as well, because it can have no boundaries, right? You are surrounded by the healing light of Hilarion and the healing angels at this time, so you can recharge and feel whole. I really love that, as in a strengthening the capacity and the connection to be in the world, right? To be in your power in the world and also be of service. And every service, every profession, in my opinion, is a healing profession, right? We have ways of bringing that to the table. It doesn't really matter what we're doing. Just by your very being out in the world is bringing in a healing frequency. But I do like that sort of honoring of, you know, maybe doing little sort of, I like doing the mirrored egg of love when I go out in the world, where the love, whatever's coming towards you, you bounce back with love. And then I put it on the inside as well, of like whatever sort of negative talk, right, and what's going on, or judgment to the outside world, it then come like that energy within you gets bounced back with love as well. You have learned from experience more inner study is now required to further progress. Melchizedek is the high priest who is mentioned in the Bible's book of Genesis and many other sources too. He is here to assist the earth through the ascension process, which is basically moving everyone and everything back to a state of love and harmony. He appears with bright light around him and a long white beard to match his ancient high priest ways, and is said to have his own order of light-filled priests who are able to help spiritual people develop their gifts and qualities. As he works on a high energetic level, we can connect with him through sacred geometry and by focusing on ancient star-shaped symbols. You have learned so much to this point, are learning more every day. You are recognizing all the great lessons your experiences and challenges have brought to you and are preparing for a transition or inner ascension where you will move beyond another level of fear and into the inner sanctum of your heart and soul. I mean, this is, again, ticking all of the themes. Become aware of patterns, ancient symbols and signs being sent to you from the universe. There is a sense that you are now able to focus in a new way and offer greater light to the world. Melchizedek and his order are with you now, leading you towards spiritual wisdom. Meditate and connect with their light. Well, Leo, right, I'm just going to cut the deck with the oracle cards. Let's do this one first and just quickly read what it says on the cards. So with Melchizedek, we've got prayer and contemplation. Connect with heaven. Ask and you shall receive. Right, so being able to ask source. We have, oh, this was interesting because while I was reading this, I was also thinking of this card. And because in this card, it's talking about the purple cloak and how when you wear it, you're sort of you're in a state of protection. And I was going to say it, and I kind of wish I did. We've got Saint Germain. This card also came up with the Cancer full moon as well. Karma releasing, move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. So that is all really reconfirming everything. So with the winter solstice, we have volcano, volatility. This is about creating new earth, new energy, new vibrancy after the digestion period. we have caterpillar opportunities following this period of internal recalibration. There are going to be more opportunities for creativity and curiosity coming through. Eliminate gossip. Don't make assumptions. Making assumptions is a setup for suffering because we usually gossip about our assumptions. We make assumptions and believe we are right. We defend our assumptions and try to make others wrong. Yeah, that's a big vibe for the Virgo stuff. It really is, of getting out of the control that your mind wants to have over your environment. Right, my loves? Oh my goodness, 2 hours. Oh, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Leave me a comment. I love to hear from you. But other than that, my lovely Leos, be good to yourselves. Be good to those around you. Safe travels and be well until we meet again.